Welcome back to the Health Samurai channel. In this video I will demonstrate you how to set up Aidbox to receive HL7 v2 messages. First of all, you need to get an Aidbox instance. There are two options here. First option is Aidbox.dev, which is a special Aidbox edition for development purposes, which runs on your laptop or PC. It's available for all major operating systems. To install Aidbox.dev, navigate to docs.aidbox.app and proceed to installation section for Aidbox.dev. A much simpler solution is to go to aidbox.app, sign in with either GitHub or Google, and create a new Aidbox instance right in the cloud. Press a new box button, provide a box name, then pick an edge cluster instead of default one, because HL7 v2 functionality is available only on edge cluster, and press a create button. Find your newly created box in the box list. Okay, now your Aidbox instance is up and running, and we need to properly configure it to start ingesting HL7 v2 messages. Important to say that HL7 v2 messages are not automatically converted to the FHIR resources. To tell Aidbox how we are going to convert them, we need to create a mapping resource. Mapping is a small program written in a special programming language called Jude, which translates data from one format to another. To get more information about mappings and how to use them, go to Aidbox documentation site and in the left navigation menu, proceed to Advanced section and then to the Mappings section. This article explains how to create mappings and how to apply them to transform your data. Also, there is a link to the GitHub repo for a Jude closure implementation, where you can also find some samples and documentation. But let's get back to HL7 v2 messages. There is an HL7 v2 documentation page on Aidbox documentation site. It's located in the Advanced section right near the Mappings article. If you scroll through it, there is a sample mapping you can use to test how HL7 module works. It's really basic because it just creates a patient with a first name and last name taken from the PID segment of HL7 v2 message. So just copy it, go to Aidbox UI to the REST console and paste this request to the REST console and press the send button. Okay, once we have our mapping created, we need to create another resource named HL7 v2 config, which specifies how incoming HL7 v2 messages will be parsed. Go back to HL7 v2 documentation page and scroll down to the Creating HL7 v2 config section. There is a sample HL7 v2 config and you can copy it and paste to the REST console. HL7 v2 config has two important attributes. First one is strict, which specifies strictness for HL7 v2 parser. If the parser is in strict mode, when it will fail parsing if HL7 v2 message lacks some required fields or segments. If strict attribute set to false, parser will produce output regardless required attributes and segments. Another important field is mapping, which is a reference to the mapping resource we just created. A mapping specifies an entry point for a parsed HL7 v2 message, and this mapping will be executed for every message received. To create an HL7 v2 config, press send button. Now we are ready to send a test HL7 message. Go to HL7 v2 documentation page, scroll down and find the section submitting a message with Aidbox UI. There is a test message right on this page, so you can just copy it and then go back to Aidbox UI, find HL7 v2 in the left menu, click on it, and press a new button. Paste your HL7v2 message here and pick an HL7v2 config instance you just created and press a create button. And Aidbox show you a processed message page, so you can see its identifier, its status, an event, and message type, config which was used to parse this message, and received timestamp. And in the tabs you can see a raw HL7 message, basically a data structure returned by HL7v2 parser, and a mapping outcome. It's a result of mapping execution, so you can see a FHIR bundle generated for this message, and you can see that this FHIR bundle creates a patient with name taken from HL7v2 message. And you can see a response status here, it's 200, which means bundle was properly executed and patient was created. If you go to HL7v2 messages link in the breadcrumbs, you can see a list of recently processed messages sorted by received timestamp, so fresh messages are shown in the beginning of this list. You can click on every message in this list to get additional information about it. And now let's check if patient resource was really created in the Aidbox database. Let's go to the REST console, type get/patient, executed, and we see 3 patients with same name, Jane Barrett. It's because I processed same test message 3 times. And if you click on any of those messages and click this reprocess button, we will get 4 messages now. And let's go back to the REST console and get a list of patients. And we see that there are 4 patients now. So now we are positive that for every new message, a new patient is created. Perfect. So we just learned how to manually submit an HL7v2 message. Of course, you can do it with a REST API. There is a section about it on HL7v2 documentation page. There is a sample request you can use to submit HL7v2 message. But as you probably know, in real-world installations, HL7v2 messages are transferred using MLLP protocol. MLLP is a very basic TCP/IP protocol, but it's not compatible with HTTP. So to get HL7v2 messages in real-world installation, you need somehow to convert MLLP traffic to HTTP. And HL7 provides an utility for this purpose. Go back to HL7v2 documentation page and find a section named Capturing MLLP Traffic. And there is a link to the GitHub repo named HL7 Proxy. And HL7 Proxy is a small utility which listens to MLLP traffic, and for every received HL7v2 message, it performs a request to Aidbox to submit that received message. Most likely you will run it inside your organization's local network, so you won't have to set up any VPN connections or something like this. There are precompiled binaries for major operating systems and architectures inside releases page, so click on release page and find the latest unstable build. And there are binaries for Linux, Windows and OS X. I will pick OS X version. And while it's downloading, let's go back to HL7v2 documentation page and let's find a bundle which will create a client and access policy for HL7 Proxy. We need this to perform authorization for HL7 Proxy requests, and also we want to restrict HL7 Proxy to be able only to submit HL7 messages and nothing more. So this bundle contains a client definition and access policy definition. Access policy forbids everything except for hosting HL7v2 message resources, And client resource provides a basic authorization, but you need to update a secret here. So let's just copy this bundle, go back to Aidbox UI to the REST console, and paste it here. And don't forget to update client secret. I will use HL7 proxy secret here. Press send button. You will get successful response. And now let's check if HL7 proxy binary file was downloaded. So navigate to your downloads folder and type ls HL7 proxy. Okay, it's downloaded. Let's make it executable. You will need that step on both OS X and Linux, but not on Windows. So type chmod +x HL7 proxy, and then you can try to invoke it. Nice, it's working, and now we need to calculate a value for authorization header to authorize HTTP requests performed by HL7 proxy. Go back to HL7 v2 documentation and find a bash command to calculate the authorization header, and paste it to your terminal and replace a secret with a string you used when you created a client resource. It's HL7 proxy secret in my case. Now we have everything to start HL7 proxy. Type HL7 proxy command. Specify an HL7 v2 config, which will be used to process HL7 v2 messages. It's default in our case. Specify authorization header. Don't forget to put basic before the string you just calculated. Specify a port number which will listen to MLP traffic. I will use 5000 here. And URL is a URL of your Aidbox instance. I will just copy it from browser. And type enter. If you see that listening to message, then HL7 proxy is up and running and ready to accept MLP connections. Let's test the full installation. To do this, we need to send an HL7 message through MLP protocol somehow. There is a useful utility to do such testing. It's called Happy Test Panel. You can find it on Google. I already installed and run it. And to connect to our HL7 proxy instance, we need to add a new connection. Provide a port number, it's 5000 in my case. Provide a host, it's localhost. And press that start button. We see that connection was successfully established. And now we can create a new message. Now let's go back to HL7 v2 documentation and find a test message we used previously. Let's copy it. Let's paste it in the message editor. And I would like to change patient name to see that new data will be inserted into Aidbox. So I will type HL7 proxy hello world, and I press the send button. In the sending logs we can see that one message was sent in 11 milliseconds. And if we go to the terminal, we can see that message was sent to Aidbox and Aidbox returned 201 status, and message processing took 25 milliseconds. Let's go to Aidbox UI, to the HL7 v2 queue, and click on recently received message. We can see that in outcome, a patient was created with a hello HL7 proxy name, and it should be persisted in our database. Let's query a list of patients, and we can see that there is a new patient with hello HL7 proxy name. So patient was persisted in the database. That's basically it. We learned how to configure Aidbox to ingest HL7 with 2 messages. We learned how to run HL7 proxy to get HL7 messages from MLLP protocol, and we touched mappings a little bit. Of course, that mappings part needs to be expanded, so you will get more information from HL7 with 2 messages, but it's a good start. Thank you for watching this video, hope you enjoyed it, and Health Samurai team wish a good luck to you and your healthcare projects. See you!